Hello, this is the Vikstrand, back with another review. I'm coming to you now from the beautiful country of Kyrgyzstan. And we are right now in a small town called Arslanbob, located in the center of the country. This is basically sort of like their version of Switzerland, basically. A lot of high mountains, rivers. As you can hear, it will probably muck up the sound a little bit, but that's the risk I'm gonna have to take in this case. And that was a rooster. Today we are going to talk about a really shitty movie. We're going to talk about the Blue Lagoon. Alright, so we are in the 19th century, somewhere in the South Pacific, I think. There's a shipwreck. Oh, shut up, you! And two children and one of the crewmen is shipwrecked. They are stranded on a deserted island, and eventually he dies. So they are left alone on the island. The fucking rooster. So they are stranded here. And they start to try to find their own way through the very limited knowledge they have of adulthood, which would have in the Victorian age, and they will eventually fall in love, and they form a very special bond, and eventually, of course, love happens. The location in the Fiji Islands are pretty amazing, and there is a sort of, what would you say, honesty in the direction. This is uncomfortably bad. I mean, Christopher Atkins and Brooke Shields are pretty terrible actors, and this is basically the twilight of the 1980s. It's extremely hokey dialogue, it is cringeworthy at best, and I said at best, and absolutely terrible at worst. The entire thing just seems like a parody of itself. Not to mention, if you have seen Top Secret, it will ruin this movie forever because it shows you how incredibly stupid it is. This is like a softcore porn for teenagers, with teenagers, by teenagers. Hello! And there's an animal market here, a lot of people walking around here. The acting is terrible, the script is worthless, the dialogue is cringeworthy, and oh god, it's just the worst. And Brooke Shields running around in these skimpy outfits and sort of not being of age makes me feel very uncomfortable. That was sort of her idea of acting, being underage and acting sexy and taking her clothes off. It fails on virtually every conceivable level. And also, the longer the movie goes on, the worse it gets. Mostly because that it sort of falls into the men are from Mars, women are from Venus kind of a situation. It would have been interesting to see sort of how the gender roles would have, gone by if it hadn't been for, this would have been a movie. It could have been a very interesting thing. Like, what if Stanley Kubrick would have directed this one? My god, what a movie it would have been. There is not much way to say about this. This movie sucks in virtually every conceivable level. It has a great idea, and it has a great setup, and it has, good cinematography and stuff like that, but everything else fails. It is a dirty, disgusting movie that is cringeworthily bad. And how do I say this? I believe Bella and Edward in the Twilight movies more as a couple than I do this. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly, goddammit. This is one of the worst movies made in the 1980s. It is strangely, you're strangely detached to the entire thing. And I mean, there is one silver line to this one. and that is that one. That thing is even worse. I don't know how this can be worse than this, but it is. Maybe it's because they had a better director. I don't know. He might actually have, you know, worked around the really terrible parts of the movie. But apart from that, Jesus Christ, avoid this movie at all costs, people. There is one thing that saves Blue Lagoon a little bit from being completely buried 6 feet below. And that is the fact that movies affect other movies. And while this is absolutely awful, with some awful on it, stuffed to the gills with awful, Return to the Blue Lagoon makes this one almost look like a masterpiece. Still, 15 rating. I'm being kind here. I'm being really kind here. Yeah, so that was the Blue Lagoon. My God, fuck, it sucks. But at least we do have some... God, my eyes. I was riding yesterday in the mountains, and I still am a little bit... I'm slightly allergic to horses, and that's why I'm very red in the eyes, maybe, still. So because I'm a little allergic to horses, these things happen, and I rode last night. It was very good, but Jesus Christ, my eyes are still fucking hurting me. I hope this works. I hope the river doesn't disturb too much of the audio, but I think I can work around it. Well, until next time, this is the Wikstrand signing out.